Hello, I'm Varvara Mirankova and you're watching Head to Head Special Edition. Today marks the 4th anniversary of downing of MH17 flight. The Malaysian Boeing was heading from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur when it was shot out the sky by Russian-backed militants. All 298 people on board were killed. A few days ago, I met with the families of the victims in the Netherlands. Here is the story of Robbie Oehlers.
My name is Robbie Oehlers. I'm the cousin of Daisy Oehlers, and she died in the MH17 together with her boyfriend Bryce Fredericks. They were on their way to Bali to go on holiday, and the reason why they went is because Daisy's mother died in April that year, and so they wanted to clear the mind and have a nice holiday. Her father was never in her life. She was raised by her grandmother, who is still alive. So she only had her grandmother and aunt and the family of Fredericks, because she lived there with Bryce in the house. The last day I saw Daisy, she was a little girl. I had contact with her mother more, and I was a young man when I saw Daisy as a small girl in the village where I live. And later, in the last coming years, she was on family parties, but I wasn't there because I always have to work when there's a family party. The reason that I went to the crash site was Daisy's mother also had a sister, Paula, that also lived here, Daisy's aunt. And Paula told me, we had contact almost every day after the crash, and she said, I can't believe it, they still didn't find Daisy and didn't, what happened? And everybody was questioning Daisy and Bryce. We need to know where they are. Are they still in the field? So it was kind of a frustrating and scary thought that sometimes you thought maybe they were alive or something, or I don't know. But we had to find and see what happened to them. But and I told Paula asked me, what do you think? I said, I think I just should go there. And Paula said, yes, that's a good idea. At first, that was the case, that he also would come. Me, Rob, and his brother, Bob. So 2 Robs and Bob, but they are not young. So I was a bit afraid that if we would go there and something would happen and we had to run, that they wouldn't be able to escape in time, or maybe he would go angry, to the people there, and then we might be in trouble. So, and they begged him not to go. His daughter said, "Don't go, Daddy. We already lost Daisy and Bryce. We don't want to lose you." So then we decided that I should go alone, and they told me what kind of suitcases they took on holiday and what kind of clothes they had, so I know exactly what I had to look for. And I also had to explain to them that I'm going to Ukraine, and everybody was against it, but I was determined to do it because nobody did something. They identified a piece of Daisy when I was there, after they knew that I was there. So maybe that's a coincidence, I don't know. And they found a piece of her hip. They identified within the stuff they brought back. So yeah, but they didn't find any more. So, and that's also frustrating because when I was in the crash site, you see this grass, and this grass was kind of swept away by the crash site, and in the grass you could find human remains. Still, by the way, there's still human remains lying there. So, of course, they're not going to identify some people. I think it's very hard to collect this small stuff from how many square kilometers? 40, 50, 60 square kilometers. It's very hard. How the story is, when I found out this happened and after 3 months we decided I have to go, I called a television network for telephone numbers of people in the area, people, their contacts, like fixers, journalist fixers, because they could give me the information. So they gave me these phone numbers, but they said, you're crazy, you're not going to be able to go there because there's no train going there. It's 500 kilometers from the Ukrainian city Dnepropetrovsk. You have to go to war zone and checkpoints. I said, I don't care, just give me the numbers. And then they gave me the numbers, and they gave me 3 numbers. One was not good, and the second one didn't pick up, and the third one was a hotel person. And the second one called back after a few minutes and identified herself as somebody from the DNR people, and she said she can help me to get to Donetsk. And she said, I can give you everything you need. I said, well, okay. And then she first said, you have to fly to Moscow and then to Rostov, and then we can arrange transport for you. And then I said, okay, well, that will be a problem because I don't have a visa for Russia and I want to leave in 2 days. So I need to book a plane, and it's not possible. And she said, don't worry about visa. You can come. I will let them know that you are coming. And that's where I knew that there were contacts within the two. So that was very stupid, actually. And then I just gave it a thought for an hour, and I called her back. Oh no, she said add me on Facebook. And then I did. And then I sent her a message that I will not go to Moscow and Rostov. I will book a plane to Kiev, and then I will manage myself to come there. Then she said, okay, well, if you come there, let me know. Then I will come pick you up and help you with your search. And then I called up the journalist from Holland that was in the hotel in Donetsk. I'm coming. And he said, yeah, you're crazy. And then when I went to Kiev, I sent him a message, I'm in Kiev. And he said, well, you won't get far. And I was in Dnepropetrovsk in the hotel. And I said, I am in Dnepropetrovsk. Give me a phone number of some taxi driver. He gave me a phone number, and they picked me up the next morning, like 5 a.m. to get me from the hotel Dnepropetrovsk and then drive me to Donetsk. And that's where I met the journalists. And I asked them to come with me because I had to be strategic, because I am not a journalist, I don't have the credential papers, and I need them to help me whenever there's questions from the military. Even though the woman from the DNR said you are safe, you can travel wherever you want, but it was a problem. So I asked them to bring me there and bring a camera, because if something happens to me, at least you have, you know. So we went to 3 hours in a taxi and we start filming the same day, Saturday. And I went to the cockpit and I saw lots of stuff lying down. I said, this is not good, you know. So I had to, so that's where the field of the sunflowers you just filmed was there. The sunflowers, all these beautiful flowers, but it was not flowery anymore. It was very cold and brown. So we did that, and after that we left. And the next morning, Monday morning, I wanted to go again. So I had an appointment with Reuters journalists to go there. But then when I was talking to him in the hotel, the bomb fell on the train station and the window went like wow. So we ran into the hallway and they gave me a vest. And that's when I thought maybe I should go home. But I found underneath this plane wreck, that was so horrible. that you can see it on the film that my eyes are getting red, more red and more red of anger, because you can't believe that this happened. You get more angry when you see the soldiers drinking vodka. Well, it's only a theory, but I think it's quite correct. Of course, they don't want to look like the bad guys. And how would it look like if you take a victim's family by the arm, said, yeah, come on, we're gonna help you. We didn't shoot it, it was them, you know, so it looks good on television. For all I know, I just want to say this, that the war that's going on, that started in the Krim and is still going on in Donetsk, is a war that is based on stupidness, because they are fighting a war for people that have only reasons to be minister president. And at first he was a cab driver or something. So it's a very opportunist war, and I hate the fact that fighting each other, and I hate the fact that they don't know that if this war is over and they have their own area, Russia is not going to pump money in Donetsk. They don't have anything that Russia needs economically. It's just strategic place for two big people like the Europe and Russia to have a strategic place. So I think it's the most stupidest war I ever seen in the world. Of course it's a mistake, I think. They were just as surprised when it was a civilian plane. They were, oh my God, look, this is not military, what the fuck did you do? We told them not to fly over. It's a mistake. It was a mistake, and that was a big mistake. Mistakes happen in military situations, especially when you are a professional army, like Russia, but you work with farmers. And when you work with farmers, nothing against farmers, I love milk and I love my eggs. But there are people there with certain ranks that are not capable of doing their job. So of course they're going to make mistakes. When I was in that building to get this credential pass so I could travel through Donetsk and to Torres, one soldier came up to me. I was alone in that building with a translator, and this soldier asked me if I wanted to shoot with guns for fun. And it was a young boy, maybe 21, looked like some street guy. And he said, why do you want me to shoot guns? That's nice, he said. So then you know, if a soldier can ask me this question without being punished, then it's a very, how you say it, amateuristic. So it was a big mistake. If you see how they rushed this Buk installation, after they said, what you heard the phone conversation said, what do you want to bring? You mean the thing, you have to bring the thing. What do you mean? Buk, you bled. That's when you know that it was a kind of a rushy situation, that they didn't have a plan. They knew that they had some air attacks or people from Ukraine flying there, and they shot a few before that, in the few months before, but they needed bigger guns so they can shoot the higher ones as well. So they just acted in response, and it was a mistake. And now they don't want to. It's a military way. You don't want to say you made a mistake. That means weakness. They don't want to come over as weak. It's very hard for the investigations to investigate where they're shooting. For example, when I was at the first crash site, where I thought I found a suitcase of Daisy, but it was somebody else's, but it had the same color. And I was standing next to the plane, and it was like a crater. So that means that it's too dangerous to to do your search for stuff, also for officials, because if people shoot rockets and shoot, you saw bullet holes through the plane, they were shooting there. It was a shooting area. So they just wanted to make a statement that it's their terrain and not from Ukraine or Europe. So they did everything possibly to keep them away, but they didn't do it with me. And it was very funny to see some parts of the plane having more holes after I was there. And they claim, yeah, it was the plane that shot it. But at first I thought, what are these holes? Could it be something else as well? But later I understood, of course, that couldn't be bullet holes. I mean, yeah, so I am ex-military. I know what a bullet hole looks like, I know what a grenade looks like, I know what shrapnel looks like. So...
and how did these holes look like?
There were all different kinds of holes. But you can definitely see that the explosion was there where the cockpit was. From the first sight you see it. You don't, there's no, I don't know, they can say what they want, you know. It's like a small child, you know, when you have two children and the cookies are gone. And there's two children, one did it and the other one didn't do it. And the one that did it points the finger as to the other child. So that's how I look at it. So another reason to do this is to kick them in the nuts. To say, well, what you said was not true. So what are you going to do now? And I'm going to keep poking them until, and maybe it doesn't do anything, but I think it does something, you know, because if nobody speaks, if nobody says nothing, you know, then let me be the stupid guy that does it, you know, and I don't mind doing it. I want people to realize who did this when they sit at a table for Christmas and look at their children, the ones that shot them out of the sky. I want them to realize every day what they did. And I want them to know what pain they caused. And I want them to stop being a coward. Because it was okay, you can make a mistake, but if you're not able to say that you make a mistake and you hide behind your big daddy, then I think you're a coward. And you can still turn it around by stepping up and say what really happened. That would help the families a lot. If that would happen, even if it's just one of them, you know?
This was the story of Robbie Oehlers, who lost his cousin in the MH17 tragedy. Thank you for watching and stay tuned to UATV.